Okay, Emma goes shopping and notices that a 2-pound pack of strawberries costs at Superstore while Safeway has a 3-pound pack for $6.75. Which is the better deal? Which one gives you the better deal? So we're on page 28 of our booklets. Which is the better deal? And notice that this chapter is called Consumer Decisions. So it's basically making you a better consumer, right? Because these companies, they know how to package something that it looks like it's a good deal, but really it's not always the best deal. Okay. And it always comes down to the unit price, folks. It really does. Right? Right. So we're gonna, I always like to have them side by side. So Superstore and Safeway. Okay, so we're gonna find the unit price of each scenario. So for Superstore, the unit price would be always cost, right? So $4.98, that's how much it costs for a 2-pound pack. And when you divide that, you get $2.49 per pound. Okay. Most stores these days have that. Like they'll say, you know, buy this 10-pound rib pack and that amounts to this much per pound, because that's really where it comes down to. Safeway sells, right, $6.75 is it's the cost, and it's a 3-pound package, right? And so you divide that and you get $2.25 per pound. LB, right? Whoever came up with that abbreviation, right? There's no pounds, right? Like LB, it's Latin or something, right? So, which one is the better one? This is the better one, okay? Best deal between these two. If you had 3 stores side by side, right? I give you 3 different options. You do the unit price for every single one and then determine the better deal, right? Savings, we will say 249 minus 225. We're going to subtract these, right? That would be 24 cents per pound you're saving, right? In general, for every pound you'd be saving 24 because you subtracted these two here. Okay. Let's do another one. 2b. And it's going to kind of take away here, so I'm just going to do that here. You should probably do Pantene capital, right? Of Pantene shampoo. Which is better? A 375 milliliter bottle of Pantene at No Frills for this much, or a half a liter bottle at Shoppers Drug Mart for $6.25, which is better? So here it is. No Frills, Shoppers. So again, always comes down to unit price when I'm comparing. I don't want you to just say this one because, right? This is what we're really asking. Okay? So for No Frills, it's 398 divided by 375 mLs. And that adds up or amounts to, so here I'm going to show you what I'm doing on my calculator. And that is, I'm going to use 4 decimals, so right there. So it's 0.106, right? Because the 1 doesn't affect the 6. Per milliliter that you're paying there. Versus Shoppers, it's 625 for 500 mLs. Watch if it had given you like 1.5 liters, you would have had to convert both of them to milliliters. Okay, you can't have too many units there. So this gives you 0.0125 per milliliter. So which one is the better one out of the two here? It'd be this one, right? So again, some of you know right away, but if you don't, check this, right? This is the decimal, so 0 and 0 move on, 1 and 1 move on, 2 and 0, right? This is lower here. So you stop and you just say this is the better one. No Frills is the best deal. Not by much, but it is. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to pause You go to the so let's see how you did. So you've got a bookstore at St. Boniface, so actually Manitoba here, right? So I'm just gonna save that and other. So here's the unit price would be $15.48 for 12 books. And that is $1.29 per book. Okay. This other one has a unit price of for 1965 for 15 books. So I don't know if you noticed that the units continue dollars per book. You had dollars and books, right? So here you get $1.31 per book. So obviously this is the better one, right? So just say better. Don't just leave it like that and let me guess. Okay. Muffins. So you have 6 and a dozen. As long as you differentiate them and you tell me which one is which, right? And so this one would be, the unit price here would be $7.59, right, for 6. And that would be 1.265 per muffin. I should probably start further to the left, right, to give myself enough room. Unit price here would be $14.99 for a dozen. So that is $1.2492 per muffin. And we can tell that this is the cheaper one, okay? Because if you go 2 and 2, right? 2 with this 2, 6 and 4, this one is the lower one. Okay. Continue. You have an 8-foot piece of 2x4. 2x4 is just a piece of lumber, right? Like that they use for construction. So this is just a name, the name of that lumber piece. So an 8-foot piece at $260 each. So the 8-foot piece here, and then you have a 6-foot piece here. So we'll see which one is better. So here you have the unit price is $260 for an 8-foot piece. And that ends up being 0.325 a foot. And then the unit price here for this one is $192. It's just construction workers unplugging their cords up there in case you're wondering what that noise is. 6 feet. This is 8 feet, right? So here you divide 192 and 6. You get 0.32, so 32 cents a foot. If you wanted to add the zeros, because I always tell you to do 4, go for it. But you can tell that between these two, even though it's a slight difference, right? This is cheaper, okay? Because technically there's a 0 there. So if you were to do the 1-to-1, 3 and 3 move over, 2 and 2 move over, 5 and 0, this one is lower, okay? So that's how you do the comparison side by side, all right? Let's keep going. All right. Some of you are asking, can I move ahead? Can I go ahead of you? Yes, but just don't go too far ahead because I always add things as we go, and I want you to just try still to follow what we do, okay? Because then it's just little things like, oh, I thought you said round to 2. It's like, well, actually, no, I mentioned rounding to 4, right? And stuff like that when we do these types of questions, okay? Using unit price, I'm going to put a little header here to find the cost of various quantities or amounts. So that's the little header on page 30 here. Using unit price, using the unit price to find the cost of various quantities, okay? So there's a manager at the store training a new employee. That new employee wants to make an easy reference chart so that lists the prices of various lengths. And 1 meter fabric costs $8.42, fill in the rest of the chart. So this right here, folks, is actually the unit price. I'm going to highlight that. It's the unit price. But it doesn't matter if they give you the unit price or not. Another way of thinking of this, there's a meter, there's a length and a price associated with it. I also like to call it a fact. That fact just happens to also be called a unit price for us. So now they want us to fill in the rest of this chart. Okay, so solution. We're going to say that if 1 meter costs $8.42, then we're going to figure out this unknown here. We know the length. We're going to put that on top. We want to know what the cost would be for half a meter. Obviously, it's half of that, right? It's not always going to be that easy, though. 0.5 times 842 divided by 1, and that's just 421. So we plug that in here, 421. Then the next, we start with the same fact. If they give you a fact, start with it. Right? They could have said 842 for 10 meters. It's not the unit price, but it's a fact, right? Start with it. So we start with 1 meter, and now we're going to figure out this one right here. So we're given the length, which is 1.75 meters. So this we're going to call as y. Just giving it a different letter. And so we cross multiply there. So it's 1.75 times 8.42 divided by 1. And that is 1474. So you're going to plug that in the 1474 here. Just by using, this is called proportional reasoning, okay? If you know a fact and they give you another piece, you can find that fourth piece, no problem, using cross multiplication and division, okay? Some of you probably used like reasoning skills other than this, and that's fine, okay? That is fine, like as long as it's still math, right? You're just approaching it a different way. Okay, so now let's go to this page here. On page 31, and I want to see, we've got about half an hour. Yeah, so my plan was to do 7 to 9 with you right now, and then flip with me to the next page just for one moment. It says practice your skills. So practice your skills is going to kind of go back right to the beginning of this section. And where's the beginning of this section, you might ask? I'll show you. Whenever you see like a big 1.2 or 1.1, that is the section. It starts there. So practice your skills will ask everything that we did from that section till practice your skills, okay? From that page to practice your skills. So let's do 31 together first. So page 31, question 7, okay? Sasha is a landscape gardener. He sees a 200-foot roll of string trimmer line for that much and 150 roll for that much. Which roll is the least expensive per foot? Technically, you should be able to do this, but I just want to get you to the practice your skills. So again, I'm going to start way over here because I know I'm running out of room every time. So for the 200-foot roll, it's $18.75. Remember, you have to put the cost first. And that is 0.09375. I think I went more than 4. I don't know why. So let me just, oh, because it stops. That's why I did it. When it stops, I tend to do that. So this is going to be per foot. So per foot. Okay. Same on this side. You're paying $15.21 over 150 feet. And that is 0.1014 per foot. Think of it as always per foot, right? So which one is the better one? It's this guy right here, right? Because right at the beginning, the 0, this is smaller than the same decimal place on this side. Better. Or least expensive. What is the difference in price per foot? Difference means subtract, folks, okay? So we take the 0, we take this one because it's the bigger one and subtract the smaller one from it. Okay. And it's just barely 1 cent. Barely. I'll show you. 0.1014 minus 0.09375. And you have to like literally round it to get a 1 cent out of that thing. It's so small. I don't know why they make a question like this, because I wouldn't even bother. If I see the 200-foot roll or whatever, I'm just gonna buy it because it's so similar. Okay. It doesn't make much of a difference. So we're gonna say this, just right in your notes. You're like, that's what it is, which is approximately, because we need to have a dollar amount, right, per foot. So you're saving a cent per foot. I guess if you're doing a lot of business, right, a lot of it, it makes a difference, but not significant. Here, it's a little different. So we did comparison, right? We did comparison here. We found out how much we're saving. This is savings, by the way. We did that earlier. Like this, you would save a cent per foot if you were to go with a better deal. This is a fact here. 2.5 kilograms cost you that much. That's a fact. Okay? So we're going to start with it. 2.5 kilograms over 8.25. And on the other side, you're going to put they're giving you one of these, they're going to give you. You look and it's kilograms. So kilograms should go with kilograms. Line them up. This is your unknown. You cross multiply them. It's not a unit price that they're giving you. It's just a fact though, right? So it's 8.25 times 7 divided by 2.5. So you're going to multiply this, and we expect a dollar amount because, right, whatever's across from the dollar amount, right, will have the same units. So that's 23 point. You would lose half a mark there if you left it like that. Dollar amounts need to have that second decimal there. They need to have. If it hadn't been a unit attached to it, 23.1 is just fine. Or anything else for that matter. If it had been meters or whatever. Then one more. You buy 5 liters for this much. That's also a fact, right? I actually will highlight the whole thing. So start with that. 5 liters of gas cost you $5.45. And you're always like, Mr. Dirksen, don't you always say that it's cost divided by quantity? Right? I keep on saying that, correct? But this is not asking you for the unit price. We're not calculating the unit price. So the 48 liters of gas would go up here. This is our unknown. We cross multiply like that, divided by 5. I can't tell you how huge this is, not only this year, but also next year, to be able to do this proportional reasoning. That's what we call that. Some teachers would just call it cross multiply and divide, right? And what is this? Dollars are here, so we're expecting X to be in dollars as well. Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna ask you to work on, practice your skills. You have to read, you have to be able to decipher, right, and interpret what is it that they're asking me to do. Okay, so that's what I want you to work on right now. Practice your skills on page 32. Take a little breather and then start working, all right? Yeah, it goes to 35, I believe. Yeah. So basically page 32 to 35. And what I normally do is I go over it next class, okay? So now you do 32, 35, all of them, all right?